We just got new. They just upgraded it.
All right, well, I have it on this one, so
Okay.
it's just gonna have to do.
Okay.
I'd rather get this one done and not have to worry about it for maybe 5
So-
years once it's
I'd like to call the meeting to order.
lucky.
Oh, we don't have any printed out materials.
You could use mine. This-
I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Ally, could you take attendance, please?
Thank you.
Craig Leggett,
Here.
Michael Biddle, Brian Campbell, Mike Wild,
Here,
Dave O'Brien.
Here.
That's it. Me, Karen Lester,
And Dan Bruno's here.
Grasso. Okay.
Okay, potential project updates. Jack, what do you got to say? First, I was gonna ask, have you heard from Nolan's attorney?
No.
Could you take a look, because you're supposed to have the information back to us, please?
Sure.
All right,
Yeah, that's what I talked to Rod Nolan here a couple days ago, and he was indicating that he was communicating with Kara, and it appeared that they had everything all in line. If I could ask Kara what the status is on, I guess, those two attachments, those two exhibits that were going to be.
I haven't received any communication from him at all.
did you hear?
No, I didn't hear any response.
She hasn't gotten any communication for him at all.
Okay,
I'll follow up right now.
So she's gonna follow up with him.
and I'll follow up with Rob also.
Okay, appreciate it. Robinson?
He is still deciding which lot that he was going to do. In order for me to get information to him about the wetlands, I'd like to get a map that only shows the current existing wetlands, not what's been compared with times in the past. And also, we could have that map have the archaeological site removed. Doesn't need to be something of survey quality, because this would be more for marketing type purposes, but hopefully we'll talk more about the wetlands, but it appears there'll only be 2 lots that could be available to him, the 2 that are out on Casey Road.
Yeah, so send me an email to remind me what to ask Jack, or ask Tom, please.
I'll be happy to do that,
Thank you, Jack.
and that's what I have for today.
Okay. Delineation, I was hoping Mr. Jarrett would have to be here. We've got to get him to talk about this. As Jack referenced delineation, there's only a couple lots that are available. We need to talk to him about the ability to, that aren't impacted by wetlands. We need to talk about the ability to undo some of the wetland work we did so we could drain some of that property. There was that big piece we did for the airport expansion. That they never did the airport expansion, right?
Right,
So
instead.
instead we could undo that. So I guess I'll have to talk to him and see if we can get something, discussion with him, but other than that, other than the 2 lots, we're done.
David, you could help remind me, obviously the county did stuff with the airport, what did we do to cause the expansion of the wetland?
We did a swap. What we basically did was do a swap with the airport land over there when they're gonna do the expansion. And in doing that, if memory serves me correctly, we blocked some culverts or something, so the water didn't drain and it backed up there. So now that water in the middle, that was mostly supposed to be that swap for the wetlands. So I was hoping Tom would be here so we could talk about it a little bit more, but he's really not. But we need him for that discussion because he's got the memory, and maybe even get Deb Robinson involved because she was there too.
So were the wetlands, were the culverts lots blocked as a result of some type of activity, or was this purposely blocked?
Purposely blocked,
Really?
because we did the swap with the airport of the wetlands. But again, I'm just going off my memory. I just want to get, make sure that we understand it better. And get Tom involved in the conversation. Maybe I'll set up some time where we can talk to a few of us.
That would be good.
Okay?
That would be good. Obviously, the county is, as you know, county finances are tough. So if there's some more expense that we're gonna have to remedy what we've done, it would be good to know that as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, we got to figure out what we got to do first.
And Mr. Chairman, as you and I discussed the other day, there may be an option, once you take and convert land into wetlands, it's pretty difficult to get it back out of wetlands. Plants start growing and things like that. If there's a way that we can get a credit, put someplace, I'm gonna hypothetically say we got 6 credits, there's 6 acres. That may come in handy sometime in the future with another project in another location. And currently, wetland mitigation is going about $80,000 per acre. So it might be able to be something where it doesn't cost us anything, but we chalk up and have something in a where it can help the company maybe that would want to locate here.
Yeah, so we'll look into that.
So Dave, how many, if I may, how many acres have expanded because of this, and how many lots did we lose?
We lost in total, well, the entire back section's gone because it's too hard to develop.
Is that because of the culvert?
No, this is, back there is a different issue.
Okay.
No, that's not it. It may be caused by the, that was actually caused by, we actually did damage to ourselves. We went in and logged it. And when they logged it, they put a lot of ruts in there when they're moving things around. And when the Army Corps of Engineers came up and said that's the worst thing you could have done was log that property, because then the water got in there. So, I mean, we lived that decision. That was done before we had that decision to make that, but that's one of the reasons. So I think we probably lost about 5 or 6 lots.
And Mr. Chairman,
But how much was attributed to the airport expansion? To that blocked culvert?
It was purposely done.
I guess
It's part of the
what I'd
swap.
like to do is be able to communicate to my peers in the county to say there's an issue that we created and we need to help mitigate. We don't know what it is, but this is what the end result is.
Let's,
So there was so many acres of land that have expanded the wetlands, and as a result, there's 1, 2, 3 lots that are no longer sellable, or whatever that number is.
so why don't we, before you flag that, why don't we have a discussion so we're using the right information? Let's get hold of Tom and Deb Robinson and talk to her. They've got both the information. And I'll set up some sort of meeting when we can talk to them, a Zoom meeting when we can talk to them to get the full information. Because I don't have the total information, I just, what we have. Jack, do you have something to say?
yes, Mr. Chairman, and I think it's also very important that we identify, because some of those lots that are no longer buildable on, we are paying the ad valorem fee for the sewer
Yeah,
district, and we should at least petition to get those removed if
Yeah.
they're not going to be usable.
understood.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
just
Mr.
for clarification.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you. That wetland deal that was made with the airport, was that made for previous expansion stuff at the airport and not the one that just got tabled?
I think it was a planned expansion, just got tabled. But again, I'd rather get Deb Robinson, and they're fluent with this entire thing. Okay. Approval of October 20, that's it for the park. Approval of October 7th, 2020 meetings for the IDA Executive Park. I need a motion to approve the minutes as mailed.
Make that motion, Davis McWild.
Motion by Mike, do I have a second? Craig, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, dewatering road purchase update, how are we doing with that? Did you get a response from Mike?
O'Connor.
Yeah,
I talked to him. He said he was gonna pull everything, get it to me. I said we really need to wrap that up. I explained to him that, we want to get everything finalized before we just go ahead and do it. I mean, at this point, it's gonna be past the time frame that they want us to hold things in escrow. So I'll follow up with him again.
okay,
He actually was here and I talked to him about it and he didn't get anything back to me.
okay. So we're waiting on O'Connor to get things done. We may have an easy way around it in January because you're supposed to transfer the property in January anyways, but we were trying to get it earlier so we can get our Mylars filed for the subdivision. And we can't do that without those lots transferred.
And those are the lots from
WCC. But we can actually file that piece from Canal Corp, can't we? That really had nothing to do with the subdivision.
Yeah, we can, but then if something happens here, then we don't have their agreement in place and something happens there, then we've got that little portion.
Okay.
Not little, but then we,
It is little. It's that
yeah.
200 square
But I mean, I
yards.
guess that's, then we would have title to that. The other thing is I'd like to get them to agree to allow us to file this
Mhm.
WCC, because if we file it within the first couple of days of January, the county is gonna want to make sure that the taxes, town and county taxes are paid on their two parcels.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be a further delay,
Mhm.
because the tax bill won't have come out yet, and it'll be a lien as of January 1st. So I've asked Mike if they can consent to that,
Okay,
to at least subdivide the property.
So the subdivision would be filed, it would be recognized, it would be mapped.
Yeah,
but
ideally if we
no
do.
transfer yet.
Right, except for we could do our part, we could do the pieces from the federal government and New York State. And then ideally we get this on before the end of the year, so we don't have to have that time frame, because it'll probably be by the end of January before we would be able to get it filed.
okay. That's about it.
And that's all been approved, and
Mhm.
that's why we have the Mylar, it's all
Yep.
set to go, ready to
Yeah.
be filed. Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Sooner the better.
Okay. Sales and marketing, anything to bring up, Dan?
Jack? Or Dan?
Dan.
I don't know.
Can't hear him.
We can't hear you, Jack. Or Dan, we can't hear you.
Is he muting?
No, he's unmuted. No, Dan, we still can't hear you. Did you just try something? Okay, well, we'll catch up.
I know Nick and I spoke last night, and Nick had reached out to Morcon, and I have reached out to Joe Gross. There was in the Albany Business Review, Nick pointed out to me that Joe has talked about Cary Industrial Park
Yeah.
development. So I have reached out this morning to him to get together with us and see if there's anything we can do in that regard.
Okay. I think I turned over the candy company that's looking to buy the old Just Water.
Yes,
So Nick
Yes.
was gonna contact them
he
also.
did.
Okay,
He did.
okay.
So,
He had me send the white sheet out to Mr. Higgins. So he had more information.
Because they talk about doing something else. I don't know what they're talking about doing. They're being quiet on what else they're gonna do with that building. So,
That's the old Just Water building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an
Correct.
existing business looking to move,
yeah, they've been a big candy distributor.
distributor.
Where does that fit in our game plan? Can we do distributors? Kara?
Mhm.
Okay. Good.
Is that considered sales, retail sales?
If they're doing distribution on a large, then it's not, the retail sales is if the people come to your facility for that purpose. So if they're distributing, like shipping out to other places, then that wouldn't fall under retail as the statute is drafted.
But they would still, how would they fit under our statutes?
They would fit under a distribution center, so
Okay.
commercial, industrial.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Regulatory member training. Get something to Tom Moore in Chester.
We're gonna need to get approval because it's gonna be I think we're gonna have to consider it and enhanced, because of the structure. We're basically, not starting it for 1 year, so they don't lose the first year of exemption. And then, because their construction won't be completed, and then we're also, we've proposed to lock in at the 485B assessed value rates that they would have otherwise had, through the town. So for the base value, instead of using the current assessed value for the project, we would use the base value that they would have otherwise received for the 485B.
They are on a 485B right now,
On the current construction,
on the current.
On the current building.
So
So that would
you
go
take-
away.
you
if
take
we-
what's the assessed value right now and use that as base value.
So the assessed
without
value right now is
485.
1.3 and change.
Yeah.
They are, that they have a schedule, and I'll send you what we put together as a possible pilot schedule for the board's approval, and I think that, pilot schedule needs to be approved by the town as well. I think it's in the best interest that we do that. They're not getting anything in addition to what they'd be getting through the 45B as far as the assessed value, because they would have already received that there. And our pilot exemption schedule is our standard. We're not giving them anything more than they would otherwise be getting. It's just that we would lock into the base values that they would otherwise. Otherwise, what we would have to do is, they're at a lower number right now for their base value that's getting the 45B.
Right.
What we have to do is increase that back up
Okay.
to the 1.3 and then get the exemption. So it doesn't, the numbers wouldn't really work for that piece of it.
So, Kara, then it would carry the whole property, you would not have, say, a phase one. They're on 485 with a phase one, they're coming in with a phase two that they're applying for, but what will happen is that it all gets melded into just one pilot for the whole property.
For the whole property, yeah.
That makes it simple.
Yeah.
doesn't it?
So, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that they're getting any additional benefit because of that. We're just agreeing to lock in at those rates that they would have otherwise gotten, to have their base value calculated at those amounts. And when I talked to the assessor, she, or his assistant, she went through those numbers with me. So I think it's like year 6 that they're back to the full base value of 1.3. They only have a couple of years left
They
on
do,
that, yeah.
that's right. Yep, okay, good.
I'll send you the resolution and the schedule that we put together, and then the cost benefits. So when you send that to the board, we can send it all
Mhm.
for a package.
Okay, good. And was there a start date to the construction, spring?
Spring.
They're hoping to start now, but they really can't.
We took a tour of it last week when Dan Steck was up in town campaigning, and took him over there and got a good tour, talked about the expansion, and what they hope to do.
Good. They're getting ready for the legalization.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably have to do the public hearing by Zoom. Today's the day he has to extend that, so. The governor,
To extend
the
Zoom.
order to allow for Zoom.
Any other questions on that?
Sounds good.
Eder,
Thanks for pursuing that, Dave.
you're welcome.
Bringing that up.
You're welcome. I think they're tickled. But they need to start now because they're gonna start incurring sales tax.
Right.
And the second thing is they're trying to get I had nothing to do with this. They didn't realize they paid their mortgage tax. So they paid the mortgage tax. What they're trying to do is go back and get the mortgage tax back. So I don't think they have much luck on that, but they talked to Pam Vogel and she said, this is what you gotta do. So I'll let them figure out what's going on. Okay. So Internet Winery will be coming up. We met with them. We'll see if they got anything else. They're gonna do a $1.8 million expansion.
Something like that.
They're putting up like a $1.5 million building and so they're looking for a pilot to help them out in manufacturing. Hopefully we'll get that one ready, so we'll have it on the board on the same Monday night. They're in a little bit of I won't say hurry, the time pressure because they want to get started. And they want to they're using Tim Barber, JAG, to do the construction. They want to get him locked up, so they need to get the financing too, so we'll see.
So that would be spring construction as well.
Spring construction.
And where's that located?
That's over on
Big Bear Road?
Big Bay Road,
Okay.
over there. They actually have 3 facilities. They got one in Bolton, they got one in Lake George, and then they got this is gonna be the facility. They don't have enough room to brew enough, or to distill enough wine. Is it distill or brew?
No, probably neither.
Not enough room to make wine there, so they don't have wine, something like that. So
Yeah.
look at that.
Are they eligible for any of these state producer credits? Do you know?
I don't know if they looked into them.
Yeah.
I'll mention it to them.
So is this one gonna be on the 16th agenda for the same action, the scheduled public hearing?
We're hoping so. We get
Okay.
the corrections and send it back to them. Hope to get it soon.
Okay,
We'll reach out to them, make sure they don't have any questions when they get in, so they'll schedule this because they really like to get it done this year.
okay.
Okay. So that'll be another public hearing in Queensbury. The TDI, we have not had any official communications from them in terms of receiving an application, but they claim they're gonna put one in place. So I did look at it, and we have appointed what I'd call a negotiating committee, so that we can have a private conversation with the negotiation, and to make sure that we are all on the same page with what we want. They've offered, everyone's seen, they've offered a pilot, or they've given us what they'd like in a pilot. We don't think that's in line with what we need. I have talked to a bunch of IDAs about it, to get some other ideas what other people are doing, so we'll see. Other than that, did you get this? You looked at this, right? This is the tractor supply, John Deere.
Yeah.
John Deere one. And basically, this is a relocation from Scotticoke to, they're proposing to come into Easton. They're an existing John Deere dealer, they've been there for a long, long time, Hudson John Deere. And they're looking to move, they need a larger facility, they're looking to build one, they've come to us looking for assistance. This is retail / repair. And I don't know how it fits in our timeline. I think that Kara can explain our issues with this.
So there's really 2 primary concerns, and I don't know that they're necessarily concerns, they're just issues we're gonna have to resolve with the company if we want to pursue this. So we'll definitely need more information from them. But with the retail project, we have a couple of hurdles with respect to that. We would have to make a finding that this either isn't actually a retail facility. The statute defines retail as something that the public goes to for a taxable good or service. So if they are doing predominantly service work, but that work is something that's subject to sales tax, then that would qualify. The other item is that the retail portion of the project needs to, if it exceeds 30% of the total project cost. So if they say, well, our retail portion of the project is really only cost us $20,000 or 20% to construct, the other 80% of the total project cost is for something else, then maybe it falls outside of the scope of retail. But if it is retail, then we have to make a finding that either, well, one of the exceptions is tourist destination, which in my opinion, I don't think that qualifies, but the other two are that it makes a good or service reason that's not otherwise available to the residents of this particular area, or if the municipality is deemed to be highly distressed. And there's a variety of calculations that we would need to go through to determine whether or not it's highly distressed, because there's no Empire Zone out there, right?
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe so, but we'll check it.
Yeah, so then it would be
Nothing
based
showed up on
on,
the map.
different economic, information that's currently available. Last time we went through this process was for, the Wally's project. And we worked with Washington County LDC, and they had those numbers available to them, so they were able to let us know. I mean, it ultimately wasn't in a highly distressed area, but they had that information, so I assume we could work with them again on that piece. The other item is that the general municipal law prohibits you from offering benefits to a company that's moving from one area of the state to another, unless you can make the finding that they would otherwise leave the state as a whole, or that it's reasonably necessary for them to move to maintain their competitive position in the industry.
But on the application, it's manufacturing or industrial, it says. So does that also go towards the retail?
Yeah, it goes towards any project. Yeah, that's right out in section 862 of general municipal law. So
I
that,
forgot what section it
yeah.
is.
That's gonna be the, so that's a finding we normally make, that we say it's not moving from one area of the state, or we're not stealing the business from another community. In this case, we would have to, and we've made that finding before. There was a situation where, there was a project in Saratoga. It never came to fruition here. We approved it, but they never moved forward. But they were getting evicted from their place in Saratoga County. That wasn't gonna work out. They needed to move somewhere. And so, if we can make a finding.
Does that go by economic region? It's still the capital.
Right, it's like from any location in the state to any other location in the state.
Okay.
So within a municipality, cross county lines.
And this is to be right next to Washington County Fairground, correct? That's what the tax map showed up.
Yeah, I think so. But I think, can they leave the state? I don't think they leave the state because they're a franchise. So, that's one strike against them. I'm trying to find an alternate, because I don't think they kick that franchise into Vermont.
But when you look at their existing facility, it's an older facility, and you could probably say it's outgrown at this time. Does that come into play at all?
Yeah, and that it's gonna be a finding based on the information they provide to you, and then something that you're, it's very subjective, if you will. That they're gonna say, look, we can't expand at this location. In order for us to expand this, and this department, we need a bigger facility. We can't have a bigger facility, or I don't know any of these details. I'm just saying,
Right.
But if those are the kinds of things that they say, then you can say, well, look, they can't ever, move forward with their business at their current location. They've outgrown it or whatnot, so they have to move. And then if you make that finding, the issue there to you is that someone in the community challenges that and thinks that that's inappropriate, you shouldn't, and that challenges the project as a whole on that ground. That's,
So would that would have to be someone from Eastern, correct?
it would have to be someone that would otherwise be benefiting from, so it could be potentially somebody in, who perhaps,
Kingsbury?
Kingsbury?
possible. They raise it as that there's a county it could be. I'd have to think about that. Let me think that through, the standing issue.
Under John, I just happen to know a little bit about John Deere dealerships. Under John Deere dealerships, there's a certain territory where you can market.
Oh, I see what you're saying, like a competitor.
Yes. But they can't go into, as I understand it, they can't go into and actively sell into their competitor space, which is another John Deere dealership.
Okay.
How is this space determined? Just geographically by
This,
town, county?
I don't know how they do it. I do know that John Deere has quite some regulations on it.
Scarecrow's from Slater County?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
That's what happens
It's
with,
got a code that's really slow.
that's what happened with John Stikowski over in Granville. They were a John Deere dealer for 50 years, and they were told they had to do X number of dollars of business, or they couldn't be a John Deere dealership. And they expanded the marketplace, and they came back and said, no, you can't sell into this territory. But they could, but all the profits, all the commissions and profits would go to whoever was in that thing. So it's a really screwed up thing.
Is that the one that went to Bobcat?
Yes.
I,
Yeah. So maybe you ought to set up a discussion with them, Karen, talk to them,
okay.
see where they're going. Last but not least, certainly, is we have scheduled meeting at 1:00 with the Fowler Square people. So we'll see what they're looking at. They had some questions. So we'll see what their determination is. We'll go from there.
Are you going to Mike O'Connor's office or are they coming here?
We're doing a Zoom meeting.
I say, I'll go to Mike's office.
Get those deeds. Trust me.
Yeah, good shot.
When he showed up here, I was like,
Okay, potential projects, proposed, any other questions on potential projects? And all of a sudden, we have things happening.
Sounds good.
Proposed budget, you were sent the proposed budget. People had a chance to review
And we're pretty good with these project fees new
it? Yes.
for what we have online right now. right?
Basically, went by, we didn't do all we had online, we just picked a couple of projects, and we were pretty comfortable with that in there. Any questions? I do have one change to make. Under expenses for, and I just remembered this, talking about this project over here, dewatering facility, we will be, we have a contract with Town of Fort Edward to do for them to plow 0.9 miles of that road going into the facility. They actually bought a new plow and a new sander to go ahead and do that road, and put on their 450.
Really?
You didn't know about that?
He doesn't tell me anything.
See, I found
I
out.
haven't approved it.
I just found out about it
Wow.
yesterday.
Too
You
bad.
probably didn't know it.
He's already overspent his budget. I know that.
So is
So,
that under contractuals?
it should be in the contractual, we should put, an additional $3,000 in there for, contractuals,
How much?
3,000.
Okay.
Should be, contraction should be,
What's AIP? AIP NISC?
AIP.
Yeah, under contractual services.
Airport Industrial Park?
Airport Industrial Park, yes, thank you.
You know, it's like, what meeting am I sitting in? What acronym does this go to?
I was looking at the page for it, I didn't see it, so I got the right page. So I should put $3,000 more in projections for Airport Industrial Park, miscellaneous contract services, so add on that line, please, make that 6,000. Okay. Other than that, I don't have any other changes. The motion to move this to the board for approval,
So moved.
moved by Mike, Craig. Do I have a second? Second by Mike. All in favor? Aye,
Aye.
carried. See, what else do we have here? On the agenda? Anything else come before the committee? We are applying for a grant for National Grid for $80,000. That will be married with a USDA grant to make the match with the USDA grant, so we don't have to come out of any out-of-pocket expenses for that marketing study we're gonna do in the dewatering facility. Out of that, there is about, I think she's got another $2,400 that the grant agreement is not gonna cover, which would be our responsibility, but we're getting somewhere around $190,000 that will also support the pre-engineering bridge survey. That will be probably about $15,000, but that will be paid for out of these grants. So we're making out pretty well where we're getting the pre-engineering study on the bridge done, so we can submit for the USDA and then the USDA, the EDA grant, and hopefully get the funding for the bridge. Any questions on that? Thank you. Anything else come before the committee? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Craig, Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We need to call the CDC meeting to order. The members are still present. Same members are still present if you want to.
Craig Leggett,
Here.
Mike Wild,
Sorry, I'm here.
He's here.
Dave O'Brien.
Yeah, here. Okay, regulatory member training, new business. Ally, would you please brief us on that?
Yes, a few weeks ago, I received a letter from the New York State Taxation and Finance saying that a report hadn't been done for the CDC and they were looking for it. And it was a 990 report that needed to be done from our auditor. And WDR, Colin Coombs, did not have that report preparation in his original letter of engagement to do our audit. And so what you see, what I sent to you guys is an additional letter of engagement just for him to prepare the 990 for the years 2018, and he will also need to do 2019 as well.
And what's the cost for that?
He said it was between 500 and 750.
Each year.
Correct, for each year.
Okay. Any questions on that?
I'll bring the motion to the floor for discussion.
Motion by Craig, second by Mike. All in favor? Of discussion, sorry.
Yeah. Why wasn't this covered under the auditing and other reporting contracts?
It wasn't included. Colin thought that Mr. McCarthy was doing it because although Mr. McCarthy is our day-to-day CPA, they can't be the one to, we need an independent auditor to do it. That's why we have two separate
Yeah.
CPAs going on. And so Colin thought that Mr. McCarthy was doing it, and Mr. McCarthy thought that Colin was doing it, so it got missed.
Oh, okay. But on the fee for services that we have for the audits, let's say it falls under WD there, that wasn't included in the RFP even broadly.
Apparently not. Surprised because we just we just used the same RFP for this one, so.
It wasn't specified. in the original RFP. So this one is just, this letter of engagement is just preparation for the 990, just for the year 2018. He will have to do 2019 at some point, but, which is the year that Tax and Financials is actually looking for, is 2019, not 18. But he has to start at 18 to be able to do 19. So he will know more once 18 is completed and may have to adjust this as necessary for the year 2019. We won't know until this is
Adjust the
completed,
price.
possibly.
So that's why we're not doing both years
Cor-
now.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Proposed budget, pretty simplistic.
Move it.
Moved by Craig, do I have a second? Mike? Discussion?
Want to thank everybody for working on the budgets here,
You're welcome.
both that we have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Do we have anything else to talk about? I guess we can adjourn the CDC Executive Park meeting. Can you kill YouTube, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?